Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Phoenix and this is the Consumer's Guide to Filmmaking. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. 2025, Emma Tammy. Taking place shortly after the events of the first film, FNAF 2 sees Mike, Abby, and Lisa trying to move on from the horrifying events at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. However, the location that Mike worked at was merely just one Freddy Fazbear location. The original location is still standing, and the original houses a ghoul known as Marionette. Possessing the host of a local ghost hunting show, Marionette lures Abby to the original Freddy Fazbear location in order to free herself and the original animatronics from their prison. It is now up to Mike and Lisa to stop Marionette from doing more harm to their hometown once and for all. This was almost something that I found amusement in watching. It's still slop, like slop of the highest order, but there were some ideas in it that I very much enjoyed. In FNAF 2, I think the writing and acting saw an incremental improvement over its predecessor. The three leads in this film, that being Josh Hutcherson, Elizabeth Lail, and Piper Rubio, clearly had a little more to work with this time around. I thought the character of Lisa's arc with her still wrestling with her father's infamy, played by the always great Matthew Lillard, and his destructive impact on her life was well performed by Lail. Piper Rubio showed great improvement in this film as an actor compared to the first film, as she was putting her best foot forward during the more emotional scenes. Josh Hutcherson was perfectly fine in this film and consistently showed acceptable engagement and emotion throughout. Also, Skeet Ulrich showed up for a scene, and he was somehow pretty good in this movie. But generally speaking, this is still garbage. Once again, the plot is about as generic and predictable as it gets. The plot twist of the security guard being connected to the Marionette was so easy to spot, but him being William Afton's son kinda came out of nowhere. I wasn't sure what to make of that. But I think the biggest problem I have with this film were some of these adult characters being cartoonishly evil for no real reason. To start, all the adults that just ignored the girl at the beginning were unsubtly dismissive of her. Unless she has a history of crying wolf, no adult would actually disregard a kid saying some other kid is missing like that. Abby's science teacher, and much love to Wayne Knight, who is one of my guys and was hamming it up, was an egregious cunt. I understood on some level what they were trying to communicate with that character, with him being wary of Abby's eccentricities and not handling it in the best manner. Unfortunately, he was so cartoonishly mean that him getting his skull crushed was not seen as the overboard moment that it was intended to be. No, it came off like proper comeuppance for a slasher film. And it was just baffling how this director and Scott Cawthon, who wrote this movie, just couldn't communicate any ideas without turning it into a stupid cartoon. Cool, Josh Hutcherson got to do the silly mask thing from FNAF 2, and it vaguely felt like one of the video games for a scene. But even though this script was slightly less all over the place compared to the first film, and maybe, if the first film were more like the games, this could have been seen as a natural escalation from that first film, it still doesn't quite feel like it's source material. It just feels like generic horror slop that got a recognizable IP name slapped on it. Fuck, just kill me right now. Once again, though, the best part of this film was the animatronics and the special effects. Using puppetry and fancy animatronics in combination with computer effects will always beat out pure CGI any day of the week. It was cool seeing these FNAF animatronics lumbering about. I also kinda dug the marionette makeup for all the possessed people. Something about that face paint and the black eyes is kinda creepy and it's effective. Shame, though, that this is a PG-13 horror movie and none of the kills were at all interesting. Cutting away from a kill can be effective when done in the right context, but doing it all the time just shows that you've been neutered by the MPAA. If you got to see Wayne Knight's head pop like a melon, or the one buddy getting sliced to ribbons, that would be fun. But no, we gotta get the most asses in seat, especially since FNAF's fan base are children and preteens. The rest of the filmmaking was about as uninteresting as it gets. The music by the Newton brothers wasn't exactly memorable in any regard. Generic horror movie music, that sort of stuff. I do suppose that D.P. Lynn Moncrief, I think that's how you say his name, and Emma Tammy managed to construct some acceptable horror sequences from a framing perspective. Then again, they literally just had one decent type of scare, and that was a long shot pan where the monster was in the background for a bit and then disappears when the camera goes away. They did that exact sequence twice within 15 or so minutes of each other, and it was kinda lazy. Most of the film, though, was really by the numbers in terms of blocking and visuals, though. Yeah, I don't know what else I was expecting from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I guess it was better than the first film, but that wasn't exactly a high bar to reach. And that isn't me saying this film is good. No, this film is trite fucking slop and is really dumb in terms of writing. But once again, Scott Cawthon secured the bag, and we're probably gonna get another one of these films. Fuck it though, at least Matt Lillard got paid and has a consistent gig. Good for him. Love that guy. Fuck this movie, 3 out of 10. Anyways, catch you later, guys.